Hello everybody and welcome back to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm And More Bus Videos, otherwise known as And More Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching. And welcome to Charter Road Estate in Yorkshire Counties 3.0. So you can probably, with the vehicle that I've got in front of me, you can probably guess what route we're going to be driving. So in front of me is first Worcester 64044 LK08 FMD. Now, if fleet plans all take place as currently intended, at the time that this video is out, this vehicle will have been withdrawn and is one of the first few Nimrod branded Citaros to be withdrawn. Now, 08 plates don't seem that old, and they are lovely motors, these Citaros. But unfortunately, in the first bus UK fleet, the Citaro is a non-standard type of bus. And just like the Enviro 500s from Cornwall and from Aberdeen that are now being withdrawn to be sold off, these Citaros are in a similar position, where they're being withdrawn potentially for sale and also potentially for scrap, depending on their condition, as more upgraded vehicles join the fleet. In the case of Worcester, it's the cascade of quite a few streetlights from around the UK that have gone there, including places like York. They've got an Eclipse from Halifax, and they've got a few street lights, short ones, from Portsmouth. So they've got quite a few vehicles coming in, and unfortunately these Citaros are going. So I thought in this video we would use the Nimrod 64044 on the 17 route, and we'll go from here, that is Charter Road Estate, to Ashbury Market Terminus. So hopefully that is a... Right, blind will also... Well, it isn't, because that's just come up as that, hasn't it? So that's clearly not the right one. Let's... Is it another Ashbury Market? Let's have a little look. So that's Ashbury Campus, that's Ashbury Market. Let's see, there we go, that does the job, and I will get rid of the main big number because we do have a little number up here. So yeah, it looks a little bit strange, but it does feel a little bit more appropriate than having the 17 twice. So you won't believe in game it is actually 1:30. I have put it to real weather that at the moment is absolutely chucking it down outside. Thus why it's quite dark. So we'll get a screenshot. I must say, in this kind of weather, minus the rain, hopefully it doesn't chuck it down in game. I must say that this pink Nimrod livery really does look the part in this weather. So unintentionally, we've made the bus look pretty cool. So yeah, it is a really, really nice livery. I think I've only been on one of these. I think it might have been 45 I went on the 35. I did a short hop on it on the 35, crossed over and got a B7 Central back in the other direction. At the time, the B7 Centrals were going over to Dublin for the air coach airside airport work. So they were an endangered type, even though most of them are still there. And the irony is these are the ones that are now going. That is a shame because, as I say, when I went there, although I did focus my time in the LT52s and O2s that were still around at the time, I did do quite a few of these, and they were absolutely tremendous motors, so it will be a shame to see them go. So I'm going to put the arrows on, and I believe we've got about 15 seconds. So we'll get the doors closed, get the bus into drive. Make sure there's no last minute runners. Let the suspension pipe itself up. And off we go. So as I said in my previous video, any excuse to drive these Citaros is a good one, especially with this brand new first Worcester repaint pack. That I do feel has been made at the correct time, as it's quite good to reflect on the liveries present and also to reflect on the vehicle type there, as Worcester is one of the areas within the first bus empire that does tend to get forgotten about, and that is also related in the vehicles that they operate as well. Oh, it's fine, I'm just not used to driving a virtual bus.
Hello. Hello.
spend that much of my time driving rail buses now. It's incredibly weird to drive one in game. And I've also never driven a Citaro. I say never. I haven't driven a Citaro yet. Is probably the better phrasing, as I do have access to driving Citaros. I just haven't had chance as of yet. Don't tell me that car's parked on the junction. Well, to be fair, it is a Range Rover, so. Yeah, the Citaro seating position is incredibly low down. It does take a bit to get used to. Especially when you're like me and you've been driving Scanias all week. I would say all week, I mean this week that I'm filming this, I've only done one actual bus driving day. No. We're just wandering up and down. But even then, I have spent me one day this week driving Scanias that have quite a high up seating position. So it's quite weird being on this that's quite forward and quite low down. Yeah, you really notice it when you see the other buses just how low down we are. I do have a soft spot for Citaros. I've had a soft spot for them for quite a while. They are lovely, lovely buses. They sound absolutely phenomenal, and if you do get a decent one that has kick down and the combination of a good driver as well, they are just a tremendous run. Regardless of age, I mean, even the more modern facelift Citaros and the C2s, in the hands of the right driver, are still absolutely lovely vehicles. They are truly, truly tremendous motors. I mean, the ones in Blackpool, for example, when you get one of those Citaros that features kick down, I mean, I do look forward. Oh, there's quite a few people wanting my bus. So I'm just responding wanting my bus. I'm not going to say no. Get on my bus.
Hello.
There we go. Hello.
Good day, driver.
Welcome to your Nimrod 17 service to Ashbury Marketplace with an incredibly dodgy destination blind, because I keep forgetting to edit the HOF file to make it look normal. So, because the HOF file set up for a different display type or a different vehicle in game. So as a result, that's why it comes up in this sort of funny manner. So I just need to update it and just get rid of the line that says 17, but I just keep forgetting. And then I just keep spawning into game and driving buses around with a blind like this. So, as I say, when you set it up like this, it doesn't look too bad, but it definitely would look a bit better if I sorted it. Is anybody wanting me? I've just realised. Is there anyone? No, there isn't. So we'll shoot past this bus. There we go. And nobody wanted to get off either. So we'll get past the number 14 that I imagine we are slightly in competition with. Or 24, yeah. Must be in competition with it, as everybody's now getting on the bus. But yeah, this livery does look absolutely stunning. And what's quite nice is in real life, these are the modern Citaros that do this, unlike the other one that we drove where they've done some slight remodelling, like clever remodelling using the repaint to make it look like an older Citaro. And with this, these are actually this type of vehicle with this sort of bodywork design. So it just looks really, really cool, and it's entirely realistic. So it is really, really nice to drive this, because the seat. I mean, bar the seating's slightly different in real life. But if you just look at the livery and the design in which it's done, it's absolutely identical to what you'd expect to see if you went to Worcester tomorrow, let's say. I mean, if they've still got some of these Nimrod ones, I haven't actually checked. Well, I hope they do. I hope they still have a few of them. If you, with this point in the taxi, it looks like half of the bus has disappeared. The whole lower deck of the bus has just vanished. Oh, taxi! Lovely. That was a slam all on and hope for the best job. And clearly the Citaro brakes weren't as good as I thought. It wasn't particularly nice. So what have we learned there? We've learned keep your distance by a mile from taxis, because Citaro brakes do not work as well as you think they do. In real life, if you'd have slammed the bus on in that position, you would have got incredibly close, but you wouldn't have necessarily hit it. With this, sometimes the knobs of the vehicles like to slide a little bit, and that's when you have a slight problem. Basically, if a bus starts sliding like this in real life, that's when you've got an issue, because your ABS is not working. That again is something I believe is slightly beyond OMSI 2 physics. Then again, I don't sit playing in real life, I don't sit here in front of a screen driving a virtual bus drinking a beer, so it does kind of balance out. Something I do want to bring in the new year, I imagine it's something that those of you that have been, I would say, lucky enough, I mean, I'll leave that descriptor up to yourselves, but I will use the phrase lucky enough. For those who have been lucky enough to see me driving a bus so far and join me on a trip or something like that, oh, I thought that was the bus. I thought the bus had gone on the curb. It's actually just a suspension just popping off. But yeah, for those of you that have been lucky enough to see me driving, come along for a trip or just see me out and about, you probably have wondered why it's not something I've featured on the YouTube yet. And the follow-up to that, how I intend to feature it on the YouTube. Now, it is something that I've been asked and something I have thought about at the moment. And it is something I want to bring in some shape or form. It won't be a long-term, permanent, fancy la-da-da thing. But it is something I want to bring in at least a series of sorts. Because it's been a while since we've done a proper short series. Well, I think it'd be nice to do some sort of day in the life of a bus driver, discussions about vehicle types, and bits that interest from an enthusiast level, and those sections of the industry. Because what I do is I don't work in an arguably conventional way. Bus driving isn't a full-time or even part-time position for me. I do it on a rather casual basis, so that's why some of you may have seen me at multiple operators and bits like that, and you'll be like, oh goodness, why is he over here and here and here? And that's the definition of casual basis, and I feel that would be something that would be, I think, of an interest to a fair few of you, because I do get a fair bit of variety of routes, fair bit of variety of locations and vehicles and operators, and when you work at different operators you see different things and you understand different aspects, and there's a lot that, by seeing that from multiple different perspectives, you learn a lot. And I mean, if you work somewhere full time, you also learn a lot, as you get to see a more in-depth thing than someone like I would do. But for me, I get the nice contrast, and I feel that'd be something that would be quite unique to YouTube, and it's something I'm quite up for hearing people's opinions on how you believe I could include it on the main and more central channel. Because it's something I've thought about, but I've not really got an idea of how to do it. So if people would be interested in letting me know, I would have a particular thing they'd want to see, then do let me know. I mean, the vehicle depot tour thing, showing the ins and outs of doing bits on buses and what you expect from an average day as a driver, what you see, what you do, what you have to contend with, that in my case is sometimes some very interesting driving from other road users. But if it's something that does interest you and you have a particular thing that you want to see, or you have a particular idea in how I could showcase it, then do please let me know, because as I say, I'm quite open for ideas. It's something I do want to showcase in the new year, but I have no idea how I intend to do that, if I'm entirely honest. So as I say, quite up for ideas and suggestions for that. So I mean, I've so far, I tend to drive a regular contract somewhere. I do some regular contract work on a route. A few of you might know, but I do regular route most of the time. I then spend a bit of my time away, driving some other routes somewhere a bit more scenic, a bit more touristy, on public services. And then I've also worked and driven some rail replacements in recent times as well. So far I've had quite a nice variety. As I say, it's still early days for me, thus why it's not something I instantly wish to pass me driving and then go, I'm going to point a camera in my face, because that's when you put yourself under pressure and things go wrong. So it wasn't something I wanted to do. However, as I'm in a position now where things are looking a little bit sort of, I've settled in a bit more, I'm getting my feet going, I know what's going on, I know crack. Oh my goodness, we're 6 minutes early. I will pull in, I think at the next bus stop, wait 6 minutes. I'm quite unsure as to how we've managed 6 minutes early, because these timetables are usually relatively tight. And I understand I have just been absolutely flooring it. However, at the next bus stop that is a proper pulling bay, or we're not necessarily on a dual carriageway that the above thing advertised that we should put our hazards on, somewhere a little bit safer than that, we will pull in. There we go. Strong and northern buses for Yorkshire. I do hope that we get an update to our Sheffield repaint packs that we've got in OMSI to reflect some of the new liveries. The ones that we've got for the street lights at the moment, we've got 63001, 2 and 3 repaints. All 3 of those vehicles have now gone, and as a result they took the Ecclesfeld brand with them. For some bizarre reason, the Ecclesfeld brand is not something that's come back. That is a shame, because it did look pretty cool. And what is also a shame is that none of the current streetlights that have come from Southampton have actually been refurbished. They refurbished 2 of those ones that were on lease, and then the lease finished, and they've now been sold on. But they've got a lovely interior retrim. That is such a shame, because I never actually got a ride on them to film them. That was a shame, because I always saw them. I thought, oh, they look really nice with the retrimmed maquette inside. And 2, we've not had any others done, so it's like, it's such a shame. I mean, Ecclesfeld and a couple of retrims inside certainly would have gone amiss. Because we just seem to have, with Sheffield, it just seems to have sort of stopped with some of the branding. I mean, we get some occasionally, and the odd repaints on vehicles that have come in. I mean, for example, I think it's 694, 40 and 42 have just been painted blue. But we've sort of then stopped with the refurbishments. So they'll probably continue to run around with the old original first maquette and headrests. Now, if those original maquetted cushions and the headrests were refurbished into the maquette that's on this bus, they would just look absolutely stunning. They would, in blue as well, they look absolutely mint. But the problem is because the interior retrims just seem to have slightly died a death in recent times. It, as I say, is such a shame. It's something that you see the bus, it looks nice and blue outside, and you go inside and it's still got its original interior from when it was new in 2009. So that, as I say, is a shame. I mean, it's something that West Yorkshire has as a problem as well. I mean, at least the West of England vehicles, probably like the 694s that came via Leicester, have probably had some sort of retrim before they left the West of England, or even a slight redo when they were in Leicester. But in West Yorkshire, the B90Ls that were new in 2007, 8 and 9, most of which still have their original cushions from when they were brand new. Yes, unless they get damaged, unless they get torched, unless they get ripped, and they have to be replaced, they don't actually replace any cushions. That means that when you go on those vehicles, the interiors do look incredibly tired. That is, as I say, is a shame. I mean, the counter argument for that is, well, at the moment it seems that there's a street that getting torched every 2 weeks by youths. So I kind of understand why they're not willing to invest in vehicles. Well, it's got franchising coming up, and there's all that uncertainty. I do understand that. However, it would be nice just to have a little bit of TLC on some of them. I mean, some of the Eclipse 2s, the E-leather was looking that bad on them at Bradford that they have retrimmed them, some of which with very, very random in-stock maquettes, or whatever maquette they had in stock in the stores that needed using up. They've just retrimmed entire buses in it, and I think they've done 2 or 3 so far. It's not a consistent thing. I mean, the maquette is different on each vehicle that they do. It's not a standard thing where they've chosen one role. I mean, they've chosen 2 different roles so far for 2 different vehicles. But again, it's still a refresh. And as I say, from a passenger perspective, it looks pretty tidy now. Hello, I mean, it confused the life out of me when I jumped on. I think it was 69570, and it had the original maquette from the Barbie era on it, and I was just like, oh, okay. So they got rid of the E-leather then. But then again, the E-leather, as I said, it's just been torn up and ripped and stuff like that. I mean, Halifax refreshed theirs. I've refreshed most of theirs about 6 months ago. So theirs are quite nice. They also got the 694s retrimmed a couple of years ago. But as I said, majority of the vehicles like the B9s have just been neglected a little bit. But again, as I say, if buses are being victims of arson attacks and stuff like that at the moment, I fully understand. However, it would be nice if vehicles in affluent places that aren't potentially going to get torched are done. The moral of that story is, if we can start remaquetting buses at Sheffield again, it would be incredibly nice, because the B9s that they remaquetted with the new maquetting look absolutely stunning. That is the moral of the story. I mean, yes, they are the same B9s that are now at risk of getting withdrawn. However, they do look incredibly tidy inside, especially the YKO7s that had the original, again, Barbie era maquette before the B9 style maquette came in. They have the original ones. Now they were looking very, very tired. The ones that they've refurbished with the maquette inside look absolutely stunning now. Really, really do. You wouldn't, if you put a private plate on it, like in the Transdev bus, you could get away with it being a modern 5-year-old vehicle without having to look inside. People just wouldn't notice their age. So, but then again, I am a real big fan of that maquette, so I am incredibly biased. Oh, I'm 7.5. I should probably pull in, although we are now at Ashbury, so I might as well just keep going. I got that busy in my own thoughts, I forgot to actually do the pulling. How far away are we from the station? Because if we're really close, there's absolutely no point now. Yeah, no, we're really close, so we'll just keep going. Yeah, we're 2 bus stops away, so we'll just keep going. Just keep going. Just wasn't expecting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am not the slowest driver in the world, especially in OMSI, but I wasn't expecting to get here about 8 minutes early. Although again, the Citaro is a quick vehicle. It's one of these in the game that you don't realise how quick you're going until again the taxi slams all on, and in OMSI it doesn't have anti-lock brakes, so you just slide into the taxi. So yes, it's that kind of vehicle.
Morning, sweetie.
It is the afternoon, but 'Ashbury Drive, and then the next stop is the market, so don't think we're too far at all now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a me thing. I only clocked the junction at the very, very last second. Nine minutes early. Okay, we'll just keep going. Just keep going. A great city connection from first. I've never seen that before. Although again, Worcester is quite an individual opcore compared to the rest of them. Worcester have always slightly done stuff differently. I mean, for example, they have 2 coaches that are used on school runs. So they use 2 silver-painted Worcester City spare livery coaches on school contracts, vice using buses. They've always had their own individual sort of style. I mean, for example, the 35 livery, for example, that's this one, looks really nice. I am hoping that they're going to do something else soon, if they're getting rid of these. Because again, I mean, the air-conditioned buses have just refurbished them. They're in lovely 2-tone pink, they had USBs. Just again, it boggles me slightly that they're just getting rid of them so early on. I understand the non-standard, but to Worcester, they're the standard vehicle type because they've got so many of them. Or they did have so many of them. I do understand they have been getting shut up. So I do understand that they are on the way out of these vehicles. There's not as many of them there as there was when I went, because I believe quite a few of the existing ones have now been withdrawn. I'm not sure this is my stop. Yeah, it says it isn't my stop, but people want to get off, so we'll just let them off. It always confuses me because that shouldn't be a fully, that shouldn't have a full white line on it because there's no forward lights. This is that junction again. This is that junction I always have a debate about because it doesn't make any sense. So presumably that light up there, that one here is for that road there. So when you come through that junction, but again, it just is not clear. So I think most of the time I just shoot through red there, like there. They change separately, but then again, you won't get enough time to get through the lights. It's an odd one. It's an odd one. I'm not going to try and understand it at this time. I just feel like there's so many better ways that junction could have been made, and just be a lot less confusing. So it was one of these videos where it decided to stop filming before I'd finished driving. So all you missed, folks, was about 4 minutes, I think, of video content on this one. Unfortunately, sometimes it likes to do this because I use quite an old variation of OBS because it works and it does the job, but occasionally it doesn't in this instance, and that's a bit of a disk issue linked to this. So the basics conclusions of the video was we got there 10 minutes early. You didn't miss much at the end, so there was nothing else exciting. But yeah, we ended up there 10 minutes early. Lovely vehicle. I will link the repaint pack in the description below. I do highly recommend that you download it. It is a lovely repaint pack. And as I say, a lovely livery in the sort of dark, about to dark, very, very rainy, cloudy weather. The livery looked incredibly lovely, as you have seen in this video. For now, though, I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, then do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the Ambobus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, as well as an archive of over 6,000 backseat and engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. With buses, trams, trains and more, there's something on there for everyone with additional 21 videos added per week. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.